Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching on Monday the 10th of November. And we'll take a look at the UK Met Office long range for winter in just a moment. But looks as if the unsettled conditions we've got at the moment are going to be staying with us, and hints of some cooler weather to come during the end of this weekend into next week. And this idea of this cooler end to November is one that's certainly building. Now, of course, we've been hinting at that for quite a time now. I don't think it's a hit of winter proper. I think it is just going to let us know that this is November and we're into winter now. This is the mean of the 500 millibar flow. We've got the ECMWF on the left here. We've got the GFS on the right. And this is from next Monday through to Thursday the 14th. And you notice here, look, this centre of low heights on both down towards the south of the country. Building heights, though, look, up towards the north. And this really indicating that low pressure system is going to be pushed away down to the south, and a tendency to be seeing more of an easterly wind. Now, that really comes into its own when we look at the NAO. This is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and it's the forecast for the next 45 days. It's from Carl McRitch's site. The next 45 days is shown in the first section of the forecast in here. And then we pick up, down to here. And then we pick up the forecast through to February later on in the chart here. But basically with the NAO, if you've got a positive NAO, you've got strong westerlies coming across the Atlantic. That tends to bring us milder conditions here in the UK and across much of Western Europe. If you've got a negative NAO, that tends to weaken the westerlies. It either hints high pressure is building or the westerlies are shifted further south. And if you look in here, just look, we're dipping down into negative territories. Now, and it's not strongly negative, it's weakly negative, and it doesn't really come back positive until the early part of December. But that hinting that we're going to pick up more of this easterly flow, the low pressures being off towards the south, and a tendency for the unsettled conditions that we've got just at the moment to be continuing. Now, the MJO forecast, again from Carl McRitchie, this is again from the CFS. So you've got to remember, we're only looking at one model here. That has really slowed down the progression of the MJO through phase 2, getting into phase 3. Phase 3 in early parts of December tends to lead to higher pressure building. And you can see it kind of gets there, but it's not until the early stages of December. So it's not till sort of the 5th sort of period in December. It gets into phase 2 around the 25th. Now, I question how quickly it's going to get into phase 3. I'm just not sure that it's going to achieve that. But what it's trying to show us is that really, for most of the rest of November and for the early parts of December, we're in phase 2. That's how phase 2 looks, typically. And what this shows us is lower than normal heights through the UK, look. Tending, though, those heights, look, tend to be lower the further north you are. So they tend to be lower here towards the west-northwest of the UK. But actually what I think is going to happen is that it's going to be further south here that we see those lower than normal heights. So essentially the long and short is that the unsettled conditions that we've got at the moment probably going to continue with a fall off in temperatures. No sign particularly of pressure trying to build anywhere near dramatically across the UK. Although I'm still going to go for a slight improvement towards the end of the month, particularly across more eastern parts of the country, where I do think the pressure may just start to build in from Scandinavia. Might just have a little bit of a push westwards. So it may be that those eastern areas become drier as per November forecast. Yeah, interesting times for November. It could well be that we've got to wait till the 10th, 11th of December for high pressure to get in, and that's when we get into those sort of phase 3 conditions in here. And that could lead us into a colder middle part of December. But more on that later on this week when we get our December forecast out. I did tell you that I was just going to show you what was on the UK MO forecast, but let me just pick up on the CFS first of all for the next 4 weeks. This is week 1. Got to twist your head here. British Isles is underneath here, look. And this shows us week 1. Look, there's those lower than normal heights down towards the south of the country. Week 2, 17th to the 23rd, very similar things. Look, this is key, this ridge building here across the pole. There's the lower than normal heights, look, to the west of the UK, and they keep the feed of cooler east to southeasterly winds there getting into the country. Week 3 and week 4. Week 3 looks like that. Low the normal heights still close by. Week 4, low the normal heights again. So you see this idea of the unsettled conditions continuing through until that early part of December. Start to build this idea now of mid-December perhaps going cool. What I did tell you though is that the UKMO have their winter forecast out. We've got more on this over on our premium site, but the UKMO have got their winter forecast out. So this is the Met Office forecast. Now, let's not go on a Met Office bashing exercise, because we're really fortunate for them to be able to make this data public, and they are making more data available now that we can use. So thanks to the guys down at the Met Office. It is welcome, and I know that, you know, I'm not one to hold back when I think you've done something wrong, but when you do something right, I will tell you, and it's good to see this data available. So thanks for making it available to us. Key to this forecast, this is the forecast for the whole of December, January, February. It's the ensemble mean. I've got to say, I don't think it's correct. I think this is pretty well correct. This is sea surface temperature anomalies, and keeping, look, this cold pool of air, of water in the middle part of the Atlantic, that I think is absolutely key to things. Very, very weak El Nino developing on there. But the ensemble means for 500 millibar heights for December, January, February, looking like that. I agree with the below normal heights, but I think instead of it being centered in here, sorry, let me just make that a little bit clearer. I think instead of being centered in here, I think probably that centre of low heights is a little bit further south here. So what we're going to see, I think, through the winter as a whole is this idea of a stronger jet stream, but probably further south in here. Notice it builds the ridge off towards the east, builds the ridge out in the Atlantic as well. And the effect of those two will be that it will buckle the jet. So the jet is going to be doing something like that. So it puts us in a trough. And what the UK Met Office is trying to say there with that is that we're in for a wet winter period. That's the sea level pressure forecast, shown as below normal pressure, significantly below normal pressure across most of the UK. Again, I think this is probably overplayed. It's one of the features of the Met Office's long-range model. They go for high in the Atlantic, high off towards the east. Look, keep us in this trough area in between. Actually, that probably sets us up for some pretty cool weather with a northwesterly flow. So they're going for the idea of cooler west to northwesterly winds getting in on that. But then when you look at the ensemble mean temperature for December, January and February, that indicates temperatures near normal with those yellow colours, so 0 to 0.5 degrees Celsius above normal. They keep the colder air look out towards the west, which of course is what we're seeing with those colder sea temperatures. Interestingly, it keeps it well above normal towards the north and across eastern parts of Europe. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think with that pattern, with the pressure pattern as forecast, so with that pattern, what you would expect to see coming off this feature here is more of a south to southeasterly flow, which would make this area here colder than normal. But notice here, they've got it warmer than normal. So I just don't understand what that's trying to particularly pick up on there. This is where I kind of fall out with this particular model. Precipitation looks like this, unsurprisingly, with low pressure, keeping the UK generally wet. And again, look, it's got wetter than normal conditions across many parts of northern of Scandinavia and into Russia. And again, you're just not going to see that given that pressure pattern. That's not going to happen. So, you know, it's good that it's there. It's good that it gives us a steer for winter. And hey, if it's right, it's absolutely spot on right. But I do just wonder what's in the dynamics of this one to be producing that sort of guidance. Of course, we'll keep you updated right the way throughout on how this develops. I just don't think that's the way this is going to turn out. But hey, that's their winter forecast. That's what's coming out for the model at the moment. So, thanks again for watching. Get ready for, as I say, the cooler weather games next week. Should also mention the risk of some fog. And what I should also mention as well, my apologies for not doing that before, is the threat of some really wet weather coming through during the course of this week. Let's just briefly take you back into WeatherWeb, and I can just show you what the latest forecasts for rainfall are, because they are significant. There we go, that's the forecast for the week. So this is the week, let me just zoom in on that for you. This is the week going up to the end of the 18th, up to the beginning of the 18th. This is beginning of next Tuesday. Important just to take notice to what these are saying. Look, 150 millimetres of rain across central parts of Scotland and southern parts of Scotland. We're looking at 50 millimetres plus across the west and the south of the country. I think that's probably going to be near 60 millimetres plus in those western areas. So some wet weather ahead certainly during the course of the next week, but of course that's exactly what you would expect to find when you've got lower than normal heights predicted, as indeed we have here. So I'll leave you with that for now, but whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to come back to WeatherWeb. You can check on the latest charts, you can get all the latest videos, etc. here. But for now, whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.